The next data type that is very important in a MATLAB are tables. Tables is a data type for collecting data and metadata properties such as the variable names, row name, description, and variable unit in a single container. When you create a variable in MATLAB, for example, when you create this section of this array, you cannot have the name of every column in this array if it's a double array. But when you work with the tables, you can set the variable name, you can set the row name, or you can set a description or a variable unit for every columns, all of them in a single container. Each variable in a table can have a different data type. For example, it can be number, but it can be a string. But the most important things in here is that the number of rows must be same. So very evident, it's clear that the number of rows must be same. How can we create table? We can create table with import data. We can import data from the Excel file, from a text file, from other type of data, and import them as a table. It's very simple. Just specify the data type for the output in the import data as a table. Or you can use the read table. Read table is a new function in a MATLAB that can create a table from other type of data, from text, from Excel, from many type of data set. So import data. As you see here, the output type, you can set a table. When you set the table and use the import, you can set a name for this. If I set the import, and if I go to the data, you can see that the table is created in the workspace. Every column has a name. In this example, they are number and the type of every column are same. Or you can use the read table. For example, I can use the read table instead of import data for reading this Excel file, or I can use it for reading another Excel file or a text file. In the previous version, the MATLAB user used the XLS read for reading the Excel file, but read table has a better capability for working with other type of data set. For example, in here I can say T equal read table and the path for the Excel, because the Excel is my current folder, so I can just write the name of this Excel file. As you see here, this variable is created in the workspace. It's a table. If I click on it, you will see that this Excel file is read for me. There is a similar command for category array. Is there in a table? Can use the summary. And it will show you a summary from your data set. It says that 25 elements have this value, 25 element has this value for the minimum, median, and the max. Or can use the size show you the size of this array. As you see, it has a 25 row and 6 columns. Similar to other array, in a MATLAB we can use the indexing for extracting some part of array. For example, in here I use this for extracting the third column of this table. If you open the T3 is the third column of everything that you know about the indexing you can use for table array. Or I can select the table from table 2 and 3. Now the T3 contains the table 2 and 3. Or I can use this for selecting the rows. For example, I want to select row, for example, 10 on the R10. R10 contains the value for 10th row in a T. A special feature in a table is that you can use the dot for accessing to columns in a table. For example, if you press dot and then press the tab, you will see a tab. In this tab, you can see that, for example, BEP. If I open the T, you see that BEP is a name for one of the column, or HCE. If you want to extract the BEP, it is just enough to use the BEP, for example, values equal to T.BEP. And BEP value are extracted as a double array. It is not a table. So we can use, for example, plot to plot the BEP value of T table. It's a special property that you can use in your code, in your program. But when it's a double array, if T is a double array, you just use the indexing for extracting the table. If you use this way for accessing to the columns and the order of these columns are exchanged. For example, BEP come to the second column, or it is go to the final column. Your code will produce a correct result for you, because the number of every column is not important for you. You don't access to this column with a 4. You access this column with its name. So the place of this column is not important for you, and it works correctly for you in every situation that your table are created. So it's a better way to work with data as a table. Let me show an example for working with a T. If I open the T, you will see that it has some value. For example, every value represents and has a meaning. Suppose that is related to a medicine data set, that it is a pressure of blood, for example, and you want to find a person from that in your data set that the pressure of their blood is lower than a threshold. It's very simple when you work in the table. It's very simple. For example, person low, person that has a pressure lower than value, and T.BEP lower than a threshold. The value of threshold can be selected by a doctor, for example, lower than this value. I'm not doctor, but I just want to show you example. It will the row that has this value or lower than this threshold are selected. Now you just need to get this as an input to the T. The row are selected and the columns. As you see, person law is now a table, but it has a 19 element. The table has a 25. We can decrease the threshold. Now the person law has a 10 value. 10% has a blood pressure lower than a threshold. So writing a code, the table is very small. The output of this command is a logical indexing. If I show you, index 3 is a logical indexing. So I use the logical index in here to extract the person that has a blood pressure lower than a value. There are many functions and methods for working with table in MATLAB, but for example, you can join two tables, or you can create a union set from two tables, or you can find a way for missing value in your table. There are many methods that you can go to our website, and there is a special course for table in MATLAB that can help you to get professional or expert in working with table. But these things that I said you here are most important feature in table.